Hey everyone, it's Steve. I just want to say welcome to the show. Before I get started, this is our very first episode of Just a Position, and we did have some slight technical and audio issues you may hear throughout the show, but still really proud of it and looking forward to episode 2 where we will have all this worked out. So enjoy the show. Thank you.
Okay, it took a second to start, but yeah, welcome to Juxtaposition Podcast where we piss blood. Okay, so I guess we should start with introducing our members here. I am Demetrius. I play games. I like anime, shit like that. Then we have Steve. Say hi, Steve.
Steve who? Uh,
I'm not giving my last name.
no, I was, yeah. So about me, I'm definitely a tech nerd. Linux, open source for everything. Love the video game, a little bit of sports, but since the pandemic, I have not been following it that closely. I'll be the monotone guy that talks over people and doesn't understand how this should be handed off. Back to you.
All right, and next we have Randy here. If you want to introduce yourself, sir.
Bro, I'm still figuring out myself.
I understand. But all right, I guess that's introduction. So I guess we'll just start with our first topic. And this week, or today actually, the Switch OLED got announced, which was pretty sure it was a disappointment to absolutely everyone. It is not what anyone asked for or wanted, so it's pretty trash. The only enhancement that it has over the base Switch is like a minimal screen size increase and the OLED display, of course. Um, Everyone was hoping that it was going to have maybe a new GPU, CPU, more RAM, but nah, it is base Switch with OLED screen and a new dock with a LAN port, which is kind of cool. If they sold just the standard dock by itself, I may buy it, but I highly doubt it. But yeah, they did. Nintendo did a like an insider interview with The Verge this morning, kind of going into detail about it. um, so that's basically it for it. Like, there's literally nothing to say about it. There's
Well,
nothing stellar about it at all.
yeah, it's completely underwhelming. Nobody was asking for this. Everyone was asking for a Switch Pro or some kind of next gen, which is typical for consoles midway through their lifespan. Is you see the PS4 Pro, the Xbox One S, or whatever the hell their shitty naming scheme is, and everyone was expecting that from Nintendo, but I'm guessing Nintendo probably read the room a little bit, and that's why they didn't announce it at E3, because obviously it would have been late enough in the lifespan where they could have announced it then. Instead, they wait a few weeks because they know they would have been booed out of the room. And I think they pretty much won E3. Everyone was happy with Nintendo was the one everyone was happy with. Everyone was pissed off at Take Two and the other announcements and presentations, and Nintendo was the saving grace. So that worked out for them. But this announcement today was exactly what no one wanted. I don't think anyone took it positively. So it's going to be interesting. It's not good. But Nintendo has its fandom, and people will buy it. Yeah, and I was actually thinking, like, who is their target audience? Because if you already bought a Nintendo Switch, what's the incentive to buy this one? And if you're on the on the fence about it, what about this announcement is going to win you over? So it almost seems like they're going to just hope that their existing fan base will buy another copy or another console, and that's probably what it's going to be more than anything.
Yeah, and I think it's a massive win for the handheld audience. I was in a couple of like group chats and discords about just games and stuff when this was announced this morning, and all the handheld players were really hyped. But that's it. That's the only crowd that it really is for, cuz if you have a Switch, you don't really need it. But I guess if you have like the day one launch Switch with the shitty battery, you may this may be a good pickup. It's only or it's dropping at 350, so that's not a terrible price. I think the regular Switch is what, 300 maybe?
Yeah, 299, I believe.
Yeah, so it's not a bad deal if you need it, but if you recently bought a Switch or anything within
Oh,
like
am
the
I
last
good?
year, I don't think it's for you.
I'm gonna be honest. I actually
Yeah,
kind of fuck with it. Uh, Only because it is not such a huge major upgrade. Because I was expecting 4K. Much better battery life, maybe a much bigger screen too. But now I don't really feel the need to like rush out and buy one. So I'll definitely get one at some point, if for no other reason than just to make my current one, I guess like the family switch, because right now my only switch is the family switch. So whenever we've got friends coming over or children, they all get to play with the controllers, and over time, they get kind
your
of
grubby
gross and
little
shit.
hands.
Yeah, and I mean, I clean them and I do what I can, and my Joy Cons are original, and I've had the Switch since I think the year it came out, and I don't have any drift or anything, so I I'm very fortunate for that. But I'll still probably get the new one, just definitely not day one.
Yeah, hell
Well,
no.
you're not going to be able to get it day one. The chip shortage is still it's still a thing. It's
Yeah,
the big reason people can't get the PS5 or the next gen Xbox. So, I just don't understand this because you're still going to be fighting the chip shortage. You're not giving us an incentive to seek this thing out other than the bigger screen, which I get your use case, but I don't think maybe I'm wrong. I just don't think that's the average user. But then again, I have two Switches. I have
Same.
a Switch and a Switch Lite, so maybe there is that person that's been waiting out on getting that second one because they need one for the family. Like I keep the Switch Lite as mine, and the big one is for the family. I keep the Switch Lite on me. I play that whenever I can.
keep
Not
that
too
MF
often
thing on
lately,
you.
but you know, I don't. Yeah, I got to. But yeah, I don't get it. I'm glad that some people are getting hyped about it. Some people are looking forward to it. But from the reaction I'm seeing on Twitter and Reddit, most people are underwhelmed to say the least.
Yeah, literally all of the features anyone was asking for were left out. So like for what like I'm searching for in a Switch Pro, I guess would be like 4K when docked, 1080 handheld if possible. Um obviously, or actually Nintendo just low key needs to overhaul the whole Switch platform, because if they ever go like any bigger, which is what Randy was saying earlier, if they go any bigger or anything like that, they're
They'd
going to
have
have
to
to
switch the Joy Cons.
redesign.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to have to redesign everything for it. So, I guess if they were to do that, that would be like a great idea, because as the Switch stands right now, it's basic as hell. Like no party chats, no themes for your home screen, no kind of folders for organizing your games and other like apps such as like Netflix and stuff. Um,
Yeah,
that's no and like no external storage support, which kind of sucks because you're just limited to the micro SDs, which are kind of annoying to handle.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah. Go
that
ahead.
all that stuff is what you saw on the 3DS, which was my favorite console the last generation, at least from a Nintendo perspective, because the Wii U is garbage. But you had Netflix, you had folders, you had, I don't know, it was a great console overall. And the Switch is good, but it doesn't feel like it's on the same tier as the PS5 or a PS4 Pro for that matter.
Certainly not.
Hell no. And if I'm not mistaken, they're kind of following the same trend as they did with the DS, because as they like went up in generations, the Nintendo DS, I think it was the 3DS, it also had an OLED. So the Switch starts basic and then it gets an OLED. So maybe the next iteration will be a Pro of some sort, because like Nintendo fans deserve a powerful next gen console. Like the game, just the library that Nintendo holds is too damn good to be tied down by shitty hardware.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think that's kind of also been Nintendo's MO. They don't care about being powerful. They'll find an audience, and they'll be damn successful. You know, Sans Wii U, because that one just failed all along. And I shit on it, but I actually liked my Wii U quite a bit. I played it a lot, probably more than my Wii. But you can't count it as anything other than a failure.
How long did they have production on the Wii U? It wasn't too long.
I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, it was not great. Let's see, it was launched 2012, discontinued January of 2017. So I mean, longer than I would have guessed.
Yeah.
13.5
and,
million sold. So
and I'm looking back at the other, or like just photos of the new Switch dock. And it looks like it has two extra USB ports, unless they just moved them. Because I think right now on the standard dock, they're like tucked away in the little drop down door in the back. But this time they're just like on the side. So that's
The
cool.
original Switch dock has that as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just stupid. Uh, so just disregard anything I said. But the Switch dock has a light, I think. At least it
I,
looked like it in the trailer.
I will say, regarding the OLED Switch, I again, like, I am super okay with this, just because, like you just said, it does need to be overhauled. So I mean, I think that that should be kind of like just a totally different console altogether and not be related to the Switch at all. And we're
yeah, I
definitely a
don't
few years
think. I
away
mean,
from
the
that.
Switch is only,
What's that?
yeah, and the Nintendo, the way Nintendo typically goes or historically has gone is midway through, especially on the handhelds, they'd have various versions of it. You had like the DS, the DSi, the DS Lite. They had,
You can go way farther with the Game Boys, even.
yeah. So I think with the Switch being this hybrid, I can certainly see the brand lasting a lot longer than their traditional home consoles. So I think that's what the disappointment is. We're not anywhere as close to Switch ending production. So the next version should be that Switch Pro. And if they're announcing this OLED Switch, that probably means we're a year before we get this next version of the Switch. And that's a disappointment by most fans that I've seen. But then again, that may not be true, and we may be, October they announce it, and then we have the OLED and the Switch Pro on sale at the same time. I don't know. I hope that's what it is.
Is this the first time a console has had to like juggle two different user bases? Like they have the handheld users and then more of like the home console type. Because like I don't, as far as I know, I'm just young, so it may have happened before.
Would the Dreamcast be considered both with the little virtual memory?
No, I don't think so. I would say this is probably the first one like this. What came to mind for me is Game Boy had the Super Game Boy where you can play the Game Boy games on your Super NES, but that was like an adapter. I think this is the true true like hybrid console.
Yeah, in which I guess it's kind of a good thing because they lose one user base, then they have another to fall back on. So it's just not bad. They'll sell systems either way.
Yeah, and I think that user base definitely overlaps on some level, right? There's hardly any only mobile, or I guess not mobile, only handheld console, only home console that like most gamers are somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. The only time I ever take my Switch off of the dock is when I'm into a game and I need to go shit. But that's it. That's literally it. But other than that, it's just strictly in the dock.
Yeah, I'm the opposite because the docking switch is the family one, and I usually can't get my hands on it if I wanted to. So the only time I play Switch is on the light. But other
Yeah,
than that, I'm usually on my PC or a console. I'm very rarely am I on handheld.
yeah. But I think that's low key it for the Switch. They didn't give us too much to talk about, which is very disappointing. But
Yeah, I think the only thing I would tag on that is that anyone here gonna buy the Zelda remake next week?
hell no.
Yep, me either.
I'm gonna be honest. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Let me search it up. I'm not too familiar with Zelda. I've never played it, but let me figure out which one. It was one that came out on the Wii, wasn't it?
Is it the Skyward
Yeah,
Sword?
yeah. They're
Ah,
the HD that they announced at E3.
okay. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Skyward Sword HD. Literally the same game has motion controls also. I think
Not
it
$60. That's my biggest
Oh
gripe.
my
If it
goodness,
was,
$60.
yeah, it's a full price. If it was $40, I probably would. But I'm not dropping $60 on a game that I've already played. And
Yeah, I was gonna
I'm
say, did you play it?
yeah, I'm not a huge Zelda fan. I fuck with it, and I love the classics. But I didn't have an N64. I didn't have a GameCube until later, so I didn't play these until later. So it's still pretty fresh for me, and I don't have the nostalgia that they're hoping, and that's what they're cashing in on, right? It's all that nostalgia.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm kind of similar. The first Zelda game that I ever played all the way through was Breath of the Wild, and it's the
Wow.
only
Wow.
Zelda
Yeah, the
game that I
first
played all the way through.
dude, I'm older, right? So I guess it's different for me. But I had that Zelda NES, the gold cartridge. Man, that thing was fucking awesome. Just that gold cartridge standing out compared to everything else, all the gray and
Oh, it's
ugly.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah, and the game itself is a lot of fun. But
Was that the
yeah,
original one?
yep.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I now I have gone back and I have played a few of them, obviously through emulators. Um, my friend
Yeah,
had a
I
copy of
don't
Ocarina
know.
of
I
Time.
don't know if it hold. Sorry,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
think his audio was lagging.
Yeah,
Ah,
it's pretty damn bad. But yeah, I've played the original, the second one, which is the second one, A Link to the Past, or is that Link's Awakening? I don't know. I played probably three or four of the NES and SNES generation uh, of Zelda games, and then a couple of the 3D games, but I never played all the way through until Breath of the Wild. But I love it, love it, love it, love it. I'm definitely very excited for Breath of the Wild too.
yeah, Zelda: The Adventure of Link is the sequel. And that was released for NES as well, and for me, it was a letdown. I didn't feel like it hit as well as The Legend of Zelda, the first one. I'm sure I'm probably in the minority on that. Most people love it, hold it in high esteem. But A Link to the Past is fucking awesome. That's probably the best one in my opinion. And they had a 3DS sequel, kind of. Yeah, A Link Between Worlds, which I highly recommend if you haven't played it. It's a direct sequel to A Link to the Past, and it's fucking awesome.
The art style aged so fabulously. I'm looking at screenshots right now. It literally looks like it could be an indie game today.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of, especially like RPG Maker. It basically
Yep.
stole that art style. That and Final
Yeah.
Fantasy are pretty similar, and yeah, so a lot of those indie games look a lot like it. It definitely helps it hold up.
Yeah, and low key this E3, that was kind of a trend was like
Indie
the
games.
retro style top down pixelated indie games. It was that and space games at E3.
There were a ton
Yeah,
of
the space
the
games
half
were
pixelated
they're weird for
half.
me.
It is very laggy. All right, you go ahead.
All right.
uh, yeah, all I was gonna say is that they don't work for me. Like I played Returnal, I rented it, and it was fine. It's a cool concept, but it's not. I'm not the audience for it, so that shit just misses completely with me.
Yeah. Um oh, speaking of space games, apparently Dead Space is getting a complete like remake, kind of in the vein of like uh I want to say the new Resident Evil games, but we don't have too much info on it, but that's what people are saying right now. But I absolutely loved Dead Space. I played all three of them. One and two were amazing. Three was kind of eh. They tried to implement like a co-op aspect where you play two different characters at the same time, like both off doing different stuff. It was kind of weird because when you're playing alone, like you would get a cutscene with the other guy who's playing, and he would just talk about just like stuff that happened, but like you don't know what happened, you weren't there. So it just it just kind of missed at some parts, but I'm really excited about this Dead Space news. I will definitely play day one.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I gotta look into that. I fucked with it a little bit. I didn't complete it, so I'm an asshole in that regard. And I didn't fuck with Dead Space 3 at all because of all the negative.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, but the game that always comes to mind, and I'm gonna piss a lot of people off, is I don't confuse them, but every time I think of Dead Space, I think of BioShock, and I love BioShock a whole hell of a lot more than Dead Space, and I'm like, well, I'd rather just play BioShock, and I don't know why. That's because they're not that similar. They're not the same setting, but that's just where my head goes.
Yeah, I see that. They're both kind of like, I don't want to say like dystopian, but I don't know if that's the right word, but they're both kind of in like, I guess kind of similar environments depending on which BioShock you play.
Yeah, yeah. I think I don't. My brain's fucked up in that way, so I I look at Dead Space. I'm like, I'll just go play BioShock.
BioShock is hard. I've played all of them. They're great.
I've
Yeah.
never played any BioShock or Dead Space game.
Good God.
Yeah, I can't say you need to play Dead Space, but I feel like BioShock is a must.
Well, okay, actually, let me tell the entire truth. I played about 15 minutes of one of the Dead Space games on 360, and then I played about an hour of one of the BioShock games. I think that they sold it as like a collection on the
Mhm.
PS4. And yeah, I don't know, I couldn't do it. I don't know if it was the art
I
style
do.
or just the vibes, but I was not like into it at all.
That's so weird to me because the vibe, the environment, the music, all that shit works for me. I am the BioShock. I'm the target audience. It works perfect. I think I may start playing that again tomorrow.
Dude, BioShock 1 had that amazing plot twist where that guy was telling you that, like, would you kindly thing, but that was
Hmm.
actually like your trigger word or whatever, so you did whatever he said.
Yeah.
My mind exploded because I was like 12 or 13 when I played that game. I was like, yo, this is the craziest thing ever, but it's like even still it holds up very well.
Yeah, it really does. I recommend you give it another try. I don't know. I can't if it doesn't work for you, I don't get it, and you're wrong. So
All right. I think that's low key it. We've been talking about games for a minute. Um, I guess we can move on to music news. What have y'all been listening to?
oh, obviously the new Tyler album. I am such a mark for Tyler. I love everything he puts out. But I was late. Like Flower Boy is what hit for me. Like obviously I heard about him and Odd Future and all the shit they're doing, and I was kind of aware of it. But I put in Flower Boy, and I I was completely in. I drank the Kool Aid. His new album fucking rocks. I guess maybe not rocks, but it slaps. What do you kids say?
Hits, busts. I don't know.
It
No, but
slaps.
it's fucking awesome. Yes. It works on all the levels. It's clearly going for a mixtape vibe, and it works, but it's fucking polished at the same time. I don't know how to explain it unless you listen to it, but it's fucking great. I put it on. It's just under Igor for me. Igor is fucking perfect front to back. I will listen to that shit until I die. It will be buried with me. I love that album, and "Call Me If You Get Lost" is right up there, just underneath it.
That's so crazy. Like I'm the like opposite with Tyler. We touched on this a little bit before. Like all of his older projects, like Goblin, Wolf, and Bastard. That's obviously where I started listening to him. And I think I was probably like 13 or 14 whenever Bastard came out. I think it was like late 2009, maybe early 2010, whenever that came out. So yeah, I was either 13 or 14, and that just like fit with like my edgy teen vibes, I guess. And I mean, I guess his style kind of grew up at the same time that I grew up, and I don't really listen to the type of music that he makes now. It's uh, it's very good. It's just so far off from where he started, which is not a bad thing. It's just that's not why I listen to him.
Nah, I get that. I think, being a little bit older, that's when Eminem first started coming out. I was that age. I was that angry suburban dude, and that shit spoke to me. And obviously D12, it kind of has an early Tyler vibe where it's raunchy and edgy for the sake of being edgy. So that shit worked for me. And obviously they both kind of matured and went in different directions later in their career. I think Eminem kind of circled back, and his later shit is a little angry and edgy again. But for me, I listen to some of Tyler's early shit. I'll still put it on, and I enjoy it, and I appreciate it for what it is. But ap- I can appreciate the maturity and the growth that he's had, and the a little more self awareness, self reflection. Like assuming most of you had listened to the album, and his latest shit, it the entire arc of it is he's going after this girl that he can't have because she's already in a relationship. And like the middle of the album is all about how he's got all this money, he's super successful, and he doesn't need that shit because he's fucking a millionaire. But at the end, it's like none of that fucking matters. I spent all this money, I jet set, I do all this shit to fill a void that I can't fill because you don't want me. And that shit, I don't know. That's not something you would see from Tyler 2013.
Oh, absolutely not. Um, yeah, it's he's like a totally different artist, like in almost every way, other than the fact that he still will find a way to kind of like push buttons, like in use language that others probably don't appreciate. But that's definitely one of the best things about him. And I will say, I don't have any sort of deep dive uh, to go with this, but the Young Boy song is fucking incredible. Uh, it's
Yeah.
just it's so good, but I'm so frustrated and conflicted that he's in it because I despise him so much. But it's
Yeah.
so good. It's so good. Like it works so well, and it shows that production largely makes the artist in a lot of cases. Like if he were to sing on instrumentals like the one that he sang on in that song, uh, I probably would like him, but he doesn't, so I don't.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like Tyler has that way of getting the best out of artists that I typically don't care for, like Playboy Cardi on Igor. I don't like him, but Earthquake, it works. It works with Playboy Cardi's feature, and then Little Uzi Vert and Young Boy on "Call Me If You Get Lost." Both of those songs are great, and they're great in it, and it doesn't make sense. Like logically, that doesn't work, but it does. So I think it has a lot to do with Tyler and the production.
Welcome to Just a Position, where we fuck with awkward silences.
Oh, sorry, I was reading something. Yeah, I never know what I'm supposed to talk because I've got the worst fucking internet in the county. So I can't know. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be talking.
Yeah, it's funny because we're talking about Tyler the Creator, and we're all in the fucking deep South. We got two of us in southern Middle Tennessee, and then you're in fucking the sticks of Alabama. So it doesn't.
Hey,
It's
man,
a
I'm
little
at the
weird.
beach. It's different. Okay,
I don't. I don't know about that.
What'd
I'm in
you
a
send me the other
very
day? Gulf
niche
Shore
community.
Foley is like, was it Foley's in like the top like 1% of the
Whoa,
worst
nah, you don't.
areas
You do
in the
not
state?
have to bring that up.
You're in the 1%.
Well,
We
every
are too.
citizen, yeah, you guys are too. Every citizen has a 1 in 25 chance of becoming a victim. I don't necessarily know what they would be a victim of, uh, but you will be victimized if you live here long enough.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't experience any of that in my brief stint in the beach.
Yeah, other than the the rednecks and the tourists, I literally can't complain about this place. It's just that there's so many rednecks and tourists that uh it numbs my brain, and it's become too much.
Yeah, at this time, like what is it, between like May and like September, like you can't drive down there, bro. It's the roads are just packed every day with tourists.
It's literally like, for example, if I have to go to a customer in Orange Beach, say in I don't know, February, it would take me about 15 minutes to get there. But if I were to go there tomorrow, it would genuinely take me about an hour and a half. It's and that's with taking the shortcut and going through the toll bridge. It's so infuriating.
Yeah, that shit was not fun at all. But is there anything else about music that we have to hit on?
Nudie dropping
Yeah,
an album this month.
He is?
Yes, sir. I done told you about it. I told you. He released when did he release Doctor Evil? Was that in May? Yeah, he released it
May
in May.
28th, I think.
Yeah, and he said that he was going to release another project in June, but in about mid June, he said on Instagram that he messed up um, sending something off to Apple or something. I don't know. He literally always fumbles like the release of his projects because he either turns everything in too late, or he's got to like get the clearance like over, I don't know, like maybe his beats or something. But anyway, he said that he messed that up, so it's going to be in July. So I don't know when this month, but he is going to release another project. He's already advertising for a little like mini tour that he's going on, and it's called Rich Shooter versus Doctor Evil, or Doctor Evil versus Rich Shooter, and that's the two titles of his projects. And he said of Doctor Evil that he recorded the whole thing like in a month. So he's been sitting for like a year plus with no new music, and then he recorded all of his last project in less than a month.
Dude, Doctor Evil that's easily one of my most favorite nudie track or nudie tapes like thus far. Like I think my last favorite was either Slimier or Faded in the Booth. But like if
Did you
his
not like
next one,
anyways?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyways, I like that one too. I think that was the first album I like listened to actually.
Slime Mirror was
Um,
probably the first.
it was if the new album is anything like Doctor Evil, like Nudie, he's going up. Like
He's
he's
going
already
way up. He's
he
going way up.
started like a TikTok trend like a week or so ago, but it was from a track on Nudie Land. So like maybe if people like
Are you
Nudie
talking about
Land,
the like WWE SmackDown
no,
lyric?
nah, it was I don't know if it's the same song or not. Doesn't sound like it, but it's the one where the the dude is holding like his girlfriend's hand and the girlfriend's like turned around to the camera shaking her ass. Some real like weird like cuck shit. But
Oh,
yeah.
bet.
It's that's the song to it. It the trend is not for me. But yeah, hopefully Nudie blows up. I would
Yeah,
love to
like
see it.
around like May ish, he had another trend on TikTok too, and it was the song "Yeah Yeah." That's the one with the WWE SmackDown lyric. I don't really know what the hell the trend was, but it was trending. I don't know, like the sound was like all over the place. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
he's
some
going to
kind of
be
like
large.
dance or something.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I remember. Yeah, like it's just an excuse for girls to show off their asses. Like literally, that's all that it was. But
Yeah, welcome to Juxtaposition where we don't like shaking asses. But yeah, that's all the music shit I got. I don't listen to anything besides like Persona OSTs throughout the week. So,
you do not just sit there and listen to that.
dude, Persona music is the greatest chill slash work playlist like you can ever find.
Yeah, he's right. I do put that shit on when I'm just trying to stay focused on something. I'll put on Persona or classic SNES music. It
Like
really does
8-bit
help you
music or
focus.
16-bit, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's an orchestra of it. It's not like MIDI sounding,
Okay,
but
all right, I hear you. I was like, damn, I could not focus well if I was just hearing that.
but
Yeah,
I'll
but
have to listen to the Persona shit. I played a little bit of Persona 3 after you begged me to, and I kind of forgot about it until just now. I played probably about 2 hours worth and have not played it since, but I enjoyed it.
yeah,
yeah.
like once you get into it and like the music changes the further you go in the game. Like the tracks advance with the game. So like that shit only gets better. And Persona 3 probably has the best music out of 3, 4, and 5 and the other spin-offs. Well, I
It,
say that, but the dancing the the Persona dancing games have some great tracks on it. Just
so
Atlas Sound Team does not miss at all.
they don't miss, but I can't really say because I think Persona 4 the soundtrack is more upbeat and more productive. Persona 3 is a bit down. It's a little darker. Maybe it's the theme of the games that are painting the music for me, but I kind of feel if I'm trying to get a little bit of energy going, I'm going with Persona 4.
Hell yeah. Persona 4 has the themes are like weird, or they're not weird, but they're definitely different. Like I can't say what Persona 3's is, but I know for a fact Persona 4's is like more of a, I guess, hip hoppy type. Persona 5 is definitely jazz.
Hmm.
But I can't say what Persona 3's is, but that shit is amazing regardless. But I think that's it for music unless y'all had anything.
The only other thing I was gonna add is Blink 182. I know that's the whitest music in the world,
Yeah, you missed me
but
with that one.
the, I was gonna mention that Mark Hoppus is going through cancer, and that fucking sucks
Oh,
because he was that shit. Blink 182 is another one that came out when I was like 13, 14. They really hit it big. So during my teenage years, that's the music that sticks with you. And I don't really return to Blink 182 too much as an adult, but seeing someone that I looked up to as a kid get cancer sucks. And hopefully, he beats it and the chemo works.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wish him
super
the
unfortunate.
best. But oh, another music thing that I just thought of. Um, he's kind of a small artist. I don't really listen to him anymore. But Skizzy Mars dropped
I
a new
knew it.
album. I haven't listened to it. I think I'm going to. I haven't listened to him in like 2 or 3 years. But he's kind of like in the vein of like the indie rap type. So kind of like or like if you search for like G Easy on like Apple Music, Skizzy Mars isn't far behind in the similar artists. So
You
it's
used to hype him up so
bro,
much.
his old shit was so good. Back when he put it on SoundCloud, that shit was so hard. But obviously when they start making music and getting a little bit of clout, they fuck it up. So like, his last like two albums or projects, they weren't good at all. But his old
That's
shit is
so
definitely
crazy.
worth a listen. It might not hold up, but I liked it. I loved it. Yeah,
It
that's all I had.
felt it felt very like 2013. Like all of his music, like it it is such a what is the phrase? It's like a window into a different world. I don't know, man. It's like a fucking screenshot of 2013. Uh like that and like most of Childish Gambino's music of that era as well sounds so much like it could have only come from that era.
Yeah,
Whereas, you know, occasionally there's songs today that genuinely sound like they could have been released like literally like 30 years ago. Uh, but no, not those. Those are without any fucking shred of like a doubt. Like released between 2010 and like 2014. That was like a very very like niche like music era.
for sure. Which
Yeah,
literally that was when like the shit that I was listening to when we used to work together, that believe it or not, that all actually came out in like 2012, 2013. So like you you
Oh
hit
yeah,
that
no, I
shit like
know.
on the head. Like that
Yeah,
shit is
like
not
that.
escaping that era.
No, it is not. Like, because I've tried to go back and listen to certain things that I liked back then. The only thing that is good at all to me that I like hardcore listen to back then is a lot of Mac Miller stuff. It aged well to me.
yeah,
And because or what is it? Oh God, hold on. Is it because the internet? Is
Yes.
that
yeah.
okay? Okay,
That's
all right.
Gambino's second album.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That is a fucking masterpiece. So I could still listen to that still, but yeah, most other albums of that like era. Uh, I mean, okay, I listen to ASAP Rocky's debut album every now and then, but yeah, there's not a whole. You know who was huge back then? Fucking Two Chains. Like that tells you like he was like on top of the game right there.
I feel like
And Drake.
I feel like Two Chains kind of he's to me he sounds like a holdover of the bling rap era, which the early 2000s. Like 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die
Are you
Trying, that
referring to Two
type of
Chains?
shit. Yes,
Okay.
and I could be wrong on that, but that's the vibe I get, and that shit is definitely nobody's going back to that era of hip hop. I don't think.
I'll be honest. Uh, I loved uh, Two Chains' first album as Two Chains because I don't know if you ever listened to him, but of course, most people know that he went by Titty Boy
Yes.
for the beginning of his career. I never really listened to him back then, but whenever he started kind of popping off as Two Chains, uh, then I kind of became obsessed because I wasn't really into music enough to know like what's necessarily good or what's necessarily bad. But I did know that I liked Two Chains, so I listened to all of that. I listened to all of his old Titty Boy stuff, and that he was actually the first rapper that got me to be like an actual fan and like be like legitimately into music. And then I quickly um, changed my taste like after I realized what was out there because like I was like, oh, he's on the radio, so he has to be good. You know what I mean? And like I listened to like all of his shit, and I really did like it. But then I slowly started to like find other artists. Some of them were smaller, some of them were also big, but they just weren't on the radio. Uh, ASAP Rocky, namely.
Yeah,
He was probably the first guy. Him and I guess Mac Miller were the first two guys that I really hardcore listen to that are more on the lyrical side of the spectrum. Uh, and then of course I eventually graduated to Kendrick Lamar, and
we're still waiting for his next album. Just hold your
yeah.
breath.
Oh my god, I know people are saying that he's retired and stuff. I seen someone post that on Reddit the other day, which is certainly not true. Like, there's no proof to that, but it's very very frustrating. Was it 17 that he released? Damn.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
man. Yeah, it's been 4 years. So, I mean, I'm certain that it'll be
It,
worth it. He could
it's like
release. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like what what's it? Emoto said like a delayed game released will eventually be good. A
Yeah,
rushed game that's shitty will always be shitty. I'd
yeah.
rather wait for a Kendrick album that's fucking good than have some trash come out. And obviously, Kendrick drops an album, it's gonna be good. I'd be shocked if it isn't.
He could release 16 tracks of him just breathing, and I will listen to it. Uh, Kelsey, speaking on the quote that you just said, um, every time that we will like boot up a game to play that we haven't played in a while, of course there's an update, and of course I've got terrible internet, so sometimes the updates can take upwards of an hour plus, even depending on the game.
Hmm.
And we were just like reminiscing on like the GameCube and PS2 days. You just bought the game and just played it. Like, you never had to update it. You know what I mean? Yeah, sometimes there'll be bugs and stuff, but far less than what we experience now. But you just said a rushed album would be bad and a delayed one would be good. That made me think, like, there's fucking DLC for albums, dude. It's just deluxe editions.
The deluxe,
Like
yeah.
like they will rush an album to make some quick sales, then like 2 months later, oh no, this is the deluxe edition with 6 extra tracks. Like, bro, this could have been on the shit already. Like,
Yeah.
that's exactly what they're doing. It's exactly what they're doing.
The only caveat I'll say to that is most people are consuming music differently now. Most people are streaming
Streaming,
it,
yeah.
or they have they have a subscription to Spotify or whatever. So that DLC is part of the subscription. So it doesn't hurt as much. To your point, when you had to physically buy the album and then you see that there's two extra tracks now because you bought it from a different vendor, that
Right.
would piss me off. But now it's a little different. So I'll take more content, please.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm not upset about it necessarily. It's just a little bit annoying because they're, in a way, I guess, gaming the system. Because
Hmm.
now, like, okay, if they get 10 million plays on their first album, and then in a few months they release the deluxe, and it's got three, four, five extra songs, whatever, and it gets like 5 million plays. So now it looks like they had two incredibly successful albums according to like, whatever algorithm is important. Uh, but in reality, it's just one successful album. I don't know. Like I said, it definitely does not affect me personally. It's just kind of annoying because it kind of clutters my music library. Which, I mean, I've got over 10,000 songs. It's not like I'm actually worried about how organized that my library is, but it's just really annoying uh, to see, like, here's this album and then here's the deluxe one. Yes, of course, I could just delete the original one, but I can't be fucked to do that.
I get it, and I think because the music industry is actively evolving, we're like in the middle of it right now. That it's they're trying to catch up to how they're measuring it, right? Like I think I saw Tyler hit number one with 115,000 album sales equivalent. What the fuck
I
does
hate
that
that.
mean?
I hate that so
Yeah.
much.
So it will look different, I imagine, sooner than later, but right now it's kind of a weird flux that we're in.
Speaking about that, I don't know if anyone's speaking right now because I can't hear anything. But so this is like, let me see how many years late that I am talking about this. Uh, hold on. Okay, in 2016, Rihanna released an album called Anti, and it received the platinum certification by the RIAA 2 days after its release. And that is because Samsung, who I think either they have something to do with her label, like maybe she's signed to Samsung or some other relation is there. But Samsung purchased 1 million copies of the album in advance. Uh, so they got. Let me see. Oops, I just kind of fucked myself, didn't I? Uh, okay, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so she got automatic number one album and immediate platinum certification because basically her label purchased 1 million copies of the album. So I can't stand any argument about, oh well, he released a number one or he debuted at number one. Dude, who the fuck doesn't debut at number one? Like literally, dude. Like Mac Miller debuted at number one, which I love Mac Miller, but he was still relatively unknown for a long time. But he released like three number one albums and he was still like relatively unknown. Like he wasn't being played on the radio, for example, which, like I said,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that you're successful, but it certainly means that you're popular. So it's just, I can't stand how music success is measured.
Yeah, and success does not equal quality either. So
No.
it's a pain in the ass. And to answer your question, Young Nudie did not have a number one album. So we already talked about
Oh,
one. I
okay. Well,
think
shit.
We're not going to talk about nudie like this.
Yeah, yeah. I actually, I'm not surprised by that. Nudie is so terrible with his promotion. I like he needs to hire a new team. And like I said, literally every single time that it's time for him to release a project, it's delayed because of like some sort of legalities or some sort of uh, I like what I don't know the words like to do with publishing and distributing the music. There's a hang up, and it's his fault or his team's fault. Uh, and
And like
it's just really funny.
and like nudie, he's from the hood and he doesn't want to leave. Like
He still lives
he
there. He makes it very clear. He by the address. He states the address of his most frequented uh, gas station in which he sells drugs. Like he will not leave. He's a very specific. Like uh, he's real, which I'm not. I'm not at all like him.
yeah,
But I can appreciate the fuck out of him putting his entire life out there like that.
yeah, and like he mentions the apartments a lot. That's where he
Oh yeah,
lives.
yeah.
He
He lives
still
in an
lives
apartment
there.
complex. Yes,
His music videos are shot at his house, like
he
at his
he
apartment
has
complex.
he has multiple Hellcats sitting in an apartment parking lot.
Yeah. He's a weird dude, but he is once he blows up, he may get away from it, but I don't know,
I
man.
don't think so, dude. I think he's genuinely gonna just like build another apartment complex. Like
For him and his homies.
he's just gonna be a real estate mogul, like transforming East Atlanta Zone 6 in his images.
oh, he needs to watch some classic Chappelle show when Keeping It Real goes wrong. Because if he starts making money, man, he's gonna put a target on his back. That shit.
Oh, he's
Who
made money.
there's yeah, but I
But I hear
mean,
what you're saying. Yeah, he's not nearly in the limelight like others are.
Yeah.
there's a couple rappers that were gunned down in the last few years because they were keeping it real, and you know, when you're keeping it real and you're hanging out with those people, they're not afraid to fucking rob you or
I know.
worse.
It's
People do bad
definitely
things when they're broke.
it's a fear that I've thought of. I mean, Pop Smoke,
Yep.
X, obviously. But I
Yeah,
mean,
bro.
he wasn't really even doing anything at that time. Like he was just driving. But anyway, I mean, yeah, obviously we wish no uh, pain to anybody. I don't know. Like we don't want anybody to die.
No, no.
But hopefully he steers clear of that. But it doesn't sound like he is, judging by the words that come from his mouth.
He's staying in that shit.
Yeah.
But oh, this just hit me. Like I have a Tyler the Creator tab up. Randy, I'm pretty sure you saw it. I don't know if you did, Steve, but when Tyler was doing his show, I forget or I don't see what song it was from, but he yelled to the crowd, Rocky was supposed to be on this beat, but he ghosted me for 5 months. So that's pretty crazy.
Wait,
Oh,
that
is
was
that?
recent?
Yeah, let me see when this article was made.
Oh, damn. I actually did
Um,
not see that.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
July 3rd. Tyler said, "I made that beat for me and Rocky's shit, but that I'm not gonna say the N word on here, but but he ignored me for 5 months. So the middle part
Damn.
where DJ Drama is yelling and I'm not rapping, that was for Rocky."
That is the biggest letdown I've heard all day. That actually hurts my feelings.
Yeah,
Uh,
the crowd was saying they saw the pain in Tyler's eyes when he said that.
that's
Damn.
so fucked, man. Like, so this has not been resolved.
No.
Oh
Yeah, it
my
does not sound
goodness.
like it.
No, dude. And I
Man, why you
bet
gotta
it's
bring us down, man?
My bad.
like
Shit.
I bet I think that Rocky is like low key homophobic. Like I think he's ignorant. Like
That would suck.
whenever yeah, cuz like I don't know, like whenever Tyler and he or he and Tyler are like joking around and stuff, I really do think that he's like bothered by it, and I think that like I don't know that that's I hope that that's not the case, but I could definitely see him just being ignorant about it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go listen to Potato Salad and pretend I didn't hear this shit.
Right?
All
Fucking,
right.
we deserve that.
So yeah, next topic. What do we got?
I think it's what are we geeking out to? Which I selfishly put on there because I wanted to talk about the Sega Saturn I just ordered. Uh,
Go for it.
uh, I've been geeking out on retro consoles, retro gaming, in particular, getting old hardware. Um, I spent some time getting hardware that I had growing up. So I got the NES, SNES, PlayStation, Dreamcast, all the PlayStations, and now I'm going back and getting the consoles I didn't have, and Sega Saturn being the first one. Uh, and I found a good deal on a Japanese version. The shit comes in the original box with the manual and all that. So haven't gotten it yet, but I'm I'm definitely looking forward to that shit. Gonna pick up some games. Looking for suggestions. So if anyone's listening and wants to send it to me, please do. But yeah, I'm gonna grab the top selling ones for now. Ones that are not 60, 70, $80.
I'm not sure if you've looked into this. I would assume that you probably have. There is what I think is a yearly uh, like miniature E3 that's specifically for Dreamcast indie devs because they still like you can still get brand new Dreamcast games. Like people are still developing for it.
Mhm.
Have you
Yeah,
like have you looked into that at all?
I haven't looked into the mini conference, but I'm definitely aware that people are still developing, and I was low key looking at it to see how difficult it would be because I thought it'd be pretty interesting to make one for a console. I mean, we talked about it. We haven't on the podcast, but we talked about developing for like a PC game.
Yeah.
So I was definitely if I can develop one for a console, that shit would be unique. So yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, not to get super deep into this, but I think it's Godot or maybe it's Unity. One of those engines. It has like a really easy avenue to get your shit published on. I believe it's the Xbox Game Store or the Microsoft Game Store. I don't know what the official name is, like what to actually call it. But what I'm trying to get at is if your goal is strictly to get a game on console, that's actually not hard at all. But no, it'd be super cool to make a Dreamcast game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's not a big goal. It would be cool to
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
and to do one for a console that I played as a kid would be really
right.
interesting and neat. So yeah, I mean, if and when I do develop a game, like I'm hoping to, I would like to get it everywhere I can, get it in front of as many people as possible.
Demetrius,
Yeah. Oh, my bad. I wasn't even paying attention. Oh, so yeah, what I've
great
been
start.
geeking out on is JRPGs. This well, actually, not like that's not a recent thing, but it was definitely kicked off by Persona 5. That was my first ever like actual JRPG. Or actually, no, I take that back. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was my first JRPG, and followed up by Persona 5 literally an hour after I beat Xenoblade.
Damn, you didn't let that shit settle at all.
Hell no. But yeah, I've been just working my way through various series of JRPGs. So I've finished the mainline Personas, so 3, 4, and 5. I didn't do 1 and 2 because I mean they're not bad, but they have the random encounters, kind of like how Final Fantasy did back in the day.
Yeah.
So that
Yep.
can be really annoying, and I guess we're just spoiled nowadays with new game design that we like. I run into that, and it pisses me off. I don't like it. So
Is it similar to like the old Pokemon games? Like where you'll just be like walking in like every like six or so steps, you just have to
yep,
fight shit.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah. And besides Persona, I've been working on the Tales of series, the Atelier series. I'm not sure if you could consider Genshin a JRPG because it's made in China, but yeah, that's hell no, that's not a JRPG.
CRPG?
The gotcha game. But yeah, just various other JRPGs. And recently, the last 2 weeks actually, I've been really deep into survival simulators. I recently
Like
played
Minecraft?
nah, fuck Minecraft.
I'm fucking with you.
Oh, you just fucking alienated a large portion of our audience.
All
Well,
right, cut that.
I mean, not fuck Minecraft because I did play the absolute shit out of it, but I feel like I've outgrown it.
I don't.
Oh, word.
You
Okay.
you cannot outgrow Minecraft just by
Okay,
design.
okay. I will
You
play
just
it for like an hour once a year, and that's okay. I have fun. Um,
Are
but
you gonna play the Shin Megami Tensei game? If that's even
hell
how you
yeah,
say it.
I'm playing the Nocturne remake right now. Shit is
I don't
amazing.
know what that means, but that sounds good.
It has, it also has the old. It came out in 2003, I think. So like, it still has those old mechanics, like the random encounters. Like you finish one battle, take literally one step, and you're in another one. Type shit.
Hell yeah, dude.
It
Grind.
it discourages exploration. Like you just want to go to where you're supposed to, and then you're done. But that gets quickly interrupted because you see chests and items and shit you have to open, people to talk to, so you're fighting all the time. But yeah, I'm super hyped for the Shin Megami Tensei 5. I think it's coming out in October, maybe October, November. So I'm really excited for that. But yeah, back to the survival stuff. I recently beat The Forest on Steam. It's a survival game where you're like stranded on an island and your son gets kidnapped and you have to go find him. And turns out the whole island was home
Whoa,
to
now
like
don't spoil it, buddy. I'm just playing. Go ahead.
the
don't
island
worry. I'm gonna cut that shit out.
the island was like home to some sort of alien artifact that made the entire island's inhabitants into mutants, so it was very fun. Um, Finish that, great game. Definitely recommend if you're into shit like that. Um, Now I'm playing 7 Days to Die. It's old. It came out in 2013, but it's still in the alpha phase. So
Hell yeah.
I don't know how the game changes drastically with each update that they put out. I think one comes out like every 3 to 6 months or so. But yeah, super fun game. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm into right now is just survival games and JRPGs.
So apparently, I own 7 Days to Die, and I've never played it, and I probably have owned it since 2013.
Probably
Uh,
snagged it in one of those humble bundles.
yeah, most likely.
But it's really good. If it's on sale on Steam right now for $7, so it's definitely worth a pickup.
Okay. Is it a multiplayer or a single player?
Multiplayer max players are 16, I believe. You can either do standard like it's a zombie game, so that's like the point of it.
Hmm.
Just empty open world. You have to loot, create, craft stuff. Um, you can
Is
just
there a
do
goal
co-op.
beyond surviving?
Nope.
Hell yeah.
um, you can either what some people do is you can just get a couple of friends and just go out together, play together stuff. But the bigger 16 player lobbies, people turn that into like a PvP thing. So that could be really cool.
Did you end up playing the Blackout Club?
Yes, it is very strange.
Yeah.
The prologue is nothing like the actual game. I will say that. The prologue is like it sets it up to be like a horror game kind of, but
Yeah.
it's not really like that when you're playing with people. It's a really cool concept. Takes a little bit of time to grasp, but I enjoyed it. I played it for like 4 hours the other day.
Yeah, I only played the prologue, and that's what I anticipate the game to be, but you're telling me that's not the case, so
Yeah,
that's interesting.
it's I'll just give you a brief rundown. It's like you and a group of friends. There's like this thing going around where people get stuck sleeping, kind of. So they're just like walking around, like sleepwalking and stuff, and they see you as like an enemy. So you form a group of friends. Basically, it's called the Blackout Club because like when you black out, like you don't remember anything. So like I guess that's kind of the whole point. Like when you have dreams and stuff, or like when you black out, you have no memory of the previous night or anything that happened. So you just have to figure out a way to stop it. And the prologue is nothing like that. So I don't really know what they were going for, but it's really fun.
All right, I'll have to play it again. It seemed like it had a bit of a learning curve, and
For
I'm
sure.
like, do I want to put the time in? Especially, it's a it's a co-op game, so I'd rather play with friends and strangers because you know how that goes. But yeah, I'm gonna go back to it, check it out.
All right, Randy, what have you been into, sir?
Honestly, man, I don't know. Like you know how I am. I will get very hyper fixated on something, and then it will be what consumes me for about a week or so, and then I'm kind of like a husk for a little bit until I find the next thing to obsess over. So right now, I don't really know what I'm obsessed over. Probably like a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks, I was doing kind of a little bit of the retro console binge. I bought three Game Boy Colors and a PS1 and two Wii's, just at random. Like I wasn't the only thing that I was actually set on buying was one Game Boy Color, and I just happened to find some good deals, so I ended up buying the others. And then same for the Wii's and PS1. I just happened to find some pretty good deals, so I kind of bought them without really intending on playing them. Um, I only wanted one Game Boy Color. I wanted the purple one specifically because that's what I grew up playing. I think I was 5 or 6, and my grandmother gifted me one, and that was like what got me into gaming. It was my first console, so I wanted to get one of those, and like I said, I ended up getting three, and I played them for a total of about 30 minutes, and now they are in my closet.
Well, I'm still trying to get one of those Game Boys off of you. So
I
if you want
know,
to
I
flip
know.
one,
I truly want to. I am a terrible hoarder. Uh, well, okay, I'm not a hoarder. Like, don't picture my house as being some like mess.
it's too
But
late.
uh, like whenever it comes to things like that, uh, especially since obviously those are no longer in production, I have such a fear of missing out. I guess like my fear is like, okay, I'll just sell him one or whatever, and I'll never get another one again. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'll never get another because like uh near where I used to work, where Demetrius and I worked, there's a little game store that's like full of like retro games and stuff. And they used to always have like multiple Game Boy Colors, Game Boy Advance, you know, you name it, in stock. And the Game Boy Colors were always $30 to $35, depending on the condition. Maybe if it was like in perfect shape, it'd be like 40. But I was always poor, so I couldn't justify spending even $35 on something that I'm clearly not going to actually use. And I just kept telling myself, I'll get one day, you know, one day, one day, one day, one day. Uh, and now that I can obviously justify the spending of $35, uh, they never have them in stock. First of all, second of all, they're definitely not $35 anymore. And what I do is because it's a little bit of a chore to go to that place just to look for something like that. So I'll always call them, and they know who I am because I call them monthly at least and say, "Do you have any Game Boy Colors?" And usually they'll go and they'll look on the shelf or whatever, and then they'll come back and then they'll tell me no. But sometimes I'll call and then they'll just immediately say no. Like the second that I'm done asking my question, they're like, "Nope." Like, so okay, but anyway. So yeah, I ended up buying 3 total, and I think all 3 of them I spent about 180. So that's 60 a piece on average, which is not terrible, but it's definitely a lot more than the 35 that they were going for less than 5 years ago. Uh,
So all that was a long-winded way to tell me to go fuck myself.
yeah, basically.
All
So
right, I appreciate that.
yeah, because if I sell you one, uh, and I lose one, and then I break one, then I'm gonna have to obviously buy one, and then it'll be like $100 or 150 or fuck me, it'll be $17,000. I don't know. Like I don't know. I'm just really bad at letting things go. Boxes, like that's a nice box. Like why would I throw that
Bro,
away? You know what I
you
mean?
should see my office. That bitch is full to the ceiling with just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
boxes, empty boxes.
Yes, dude, it's a good box. Like
It is.
usually like I've got 3 main reasons to keep a box. One, if I know that this is going to sound kind of silly, but I'm sure that you guys will understand what I'm saying. If I think it's going to be worth something one day, for example, my Nintendo Switch box, my Xbox Series S box, one day, you know how we're talking about the Game Boy Colors, that box will be worth like $15 or something. You know, I'm not keeping it to sell it. I'm just keeping it because like, oh, this will be kind of like a cool thing to see one day. But so that's the first reason I keep my boxes. The second reason is if it's something that was expensive, like my Beats, my other headphones, my camera, like all of my headsets, like I'll just store the boxes just in case like I have to return it. It's just easier to have the box. And then 3 is just like that's a nice fucking box. Like I could use this for something, which I never do.
You
But
never know.
it's fucking nice, dude. Like who else would need an 11 by 6 box for anything, you know, other than maybe like a very tiny gift that would throw them off because as soon as I open the gift, I'm like, oh, it's an iPad. Like, no, motherfucker, it's not. It's just a box. It's a good box.
Exactly. All my iPhones, I have them boxes,
Oh,
bro.
oh, dude, back in my iPhone 6, 7 Plus, 10s Max, 12 Pro Max, 3 iPad boxes, all of Kelsey's iPhone boxes, my Apple Watches, what else? All of the AirPod boxes. I've got like 10 grand in Apple boxes, dude.
They're simply good boxes. Like
Yes,
They're premium. They
They
feel
are.
good.
they
It
are.
is it
You're
is the
paying
most
for the box.
satisfying thing because like the Apple boxes when you open it, they like gently
Ooh, that
slide
that
out
slide.
with the like you can feel the air pushing out of them and stuff.
They
Bro,
are airtight. I would
it's
trust anything inside of that box.
seriously, it is a very premium experience and I fucking hate when I go get a new phone and the person who's selling me the phone at the store tries to unbox the bitch for me.
Oh my god, that is the worst. And another thing, my 12 Pro Max, which is my current phone, uh, no, maybe it was Kelsey. One of our 12 Pro Max boxes was dented. Like the
Oh
corner, like
no.
it had either been dropped or some other thing happened to the box where like the corner was just a little bit, kind of ugly. Which doesn't necessarily matter because obviously the box did its job, but it is frustrating, dude. Like I am paying for the box. Like the phone was like $1,400. The box better be nice, and I better open it. You know what I mean?
You're paying for a
Like,
premium experience.
yeah, exactly. The unboxing experience is so underrated. Like, I will stick with a brand on something if just the experience is good.
Should we make a new segment on called "What Are We Unboxing"?
Perhaps it's an Apple product, most likely.
No, the fuck it isn't. I'm
Okay, okay. Sorry, I didn't
he's
know
a
it was
s-
broken here.
he's a Samsung butthurt
Nope. I
Android.
ditched my Samsung. I actually went to Pixel because I can flash the ROM. Because Samsung just wants to be Apple, and like the last 10 years, that's all they've been doing is moving closer and closer to an Apple experience.
That's fine
But
with me.
yeah, I mean, I get it. I absolutely understand why people enjoy Apple products, and it's just not for me. I'm
Yeah, it's definitely. I actually was a Samsung guy back in the day. My first legitimate cell phone that I actually like would say would be my phone was an iPhone 3GS in 2010, I think. And then I got the iPhone 4 quickly after that. And then I actually switched to Android. I don't remember what phone it was. It was some LG phone, LG, and I loved it. I was like, "Holy shit! Why the fuck would I ever go back to iPhone, dude? The screen's bigger. Obviously, the customization is like unrivaled in every way." Um, and then I upgraded to the Samsung Galaxy S4. That was the newest one
Mhm.
at the time.
Mhm.
And then I started dating my now wife, Kelsey, and she had an iPhone 4, and I convinced her to get the Galaxy S5 as soon as that came out. So we were super big into Galaxy phones, loved it so much. And then, like, at least in my experience, the Android phones age so quickly. Like, the degradation of just all like the performance across the board, like the battery, just like the responsiveness. Now that could be because I certainly was doing things to it that I shouldn't have been doing. Uh, so I know that I could have prevented
That
that to an
sounds
extent.
so.
Yeah,
That sounds so bad, man. What
I
are you
was
doing to
fucking
these
my phone.
phones?
Yeah, I was fucking my phone. But like it, I could have. Okay, like you know what I'm saying, like downloading APKs and shit. Like
So
the
the
go
the
ahead.
best the best thing about Android, especially in the era you're talking about, is that you can flash custom ROMs on
Oh,
them.
I did that too. I didn't get there yet. Okay. I tried to do that, but I had already switched back to iPhone. Okay, all right. So Galaxy S4, then iPhone 6 came out, and then I bought that bitch. But I was carrying both phones because there's nothing wrong with the Galaxy S4. I just liked to have it because it was not an old phone yet. It was like I think the previous generation, so it was like slightly old. But anyway, I think it was like Cyanogen mod or some shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I was going to do that, and I installed it, and I couldn't tell you like my memory regarding that is I'm installing it, and that's it. Like I don't remember what I did after that.
Dude, you blacked out?
I
What the
don't.
fuck is going on with you in the phones?
I was 18. I think I might have been 17. I was either 17 or 18. I just don't remember, dude. That was like 7 years ago. I just like literally don't remember. But my girlfriend, or she's my wife now, but my girlfriend, she stuck with Android. She got whatever the newest Note was at that time. I
Mhm.
think that would probably be the 5. Um, and then what did I do? Oh yeah, and like I just got the iPhone 6, and after just like a couple weeks of me having that iPhone, uh, she nope, no, I'm mixing it up. She stuck with Android, and she fucking hated the iPhone. But then, like 2 years later, got the iPhone 7 Plus. Then Kelsey was like, "Fuck this! Like I'm getting an iPhone," and
She went to the dark side.
yeah, we back on
Yeah.
this shit. Like I
Like,
go ahead.
um, like iPhones were like, I don't know if it was like this where you are Randy, Steve, you are too old for what I'm
Son
about
of
to
a
talk about.
bitch.
But in high school, it was like a social like status to have
Yeah,
an iPhone.
absolutely.
People legitimately didn't text you if you didn't use iMessage. Like that cost someone so much. Like you- if you if you can't talk to people, like you don't have friends because you don't have an iMessage, bro. Like, and so that's probably why I've stuck with iPhone this whole time. Because like during my whole high school career, I had like don't laugh, but like I was poor. I had a a net 10 track phone from from the dollar store, bro. I had to buy minutes for that hoe, and it was terrible. It wasn't even an Android, bro. So like, I finally got an iPhone like what a month or two before I graduated high school, and like it was everything I ever
You
wanted,
made
bro.
sure
Like
everybody seen that bitch too, didn't you?
hell yeah,
Yeah.
bro. I had the most fire case on it, bro.
Shit, I was rocking no case for a little bit. I don't know why
It feels so good. A naked iPhone
Yeah.
is unmatched.
I know
Yeah,
it,
I agree.
the build quality is fucking impeccable. One reason why I said I would never go back to iPhone is the lack of features. But most, not all, but most of those things are solved with just jailbreaking. So what I would always do is I would always just jailbreak my iPhones, especially after my stint with Android. But with each new major update to iOS, they're getting closer to being pretty much perfect for my needs. There's literally only like a couple things that I can think of that uh, actually bother me that the iPhone doesn't have. Mostly, expandable storage is fucking
Yep.
insane that we don't have that. Which it's slightly okay with me because I'm actually holding it right now. I do have this little adapter that I can use like an SD card or something if I had to back shit up. But I think I have, I don't know, like half a terabyte of storage roughly on the phone, and I have like a few hundred gigs of iCloud. So I mean, I'll probably never run out, but it's nice to have the option. Um, what else is there that I actually am upset about?
The
Uh,
the thing about that is like my Pixel that I have doesn't have expandable storage. A lot of the later Samsungs don't have expandable storage. So instead of Apple moving towards Android, all the Android
yeah,
they're just moving towards Apple, and
I
that's
know.
beyond frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. One thing that was a huge thing for me back in the day was OLED displays.
Hmm.
Like iPhone took so long to adopt that, which I mean, maybe this is a little bit fanboyish, but maybe that wasn't the worst thing in the world because Apple's OLED displays, they're great. I don't remember who makes them. It might actually be Samsung that makes them.
Yeah, it
But
is.
yeah, I figured. But I'm not necessarily saying that they're great because of Apple, because clearly Samsung's the one that's making them. But like the technology has grown. Like whenever OLEDs were new, it was so common to have like burned screens.
Hmm.
My grandmother, she always plays solitaire on her phone, and she always, up until this last year, would have whatever the most expensive flagship Samsung phone is, and she would always have solitaire burned in her screen, like within like a
Jesus.
month of like owning the phone. So that's fucking hideous. You would never see that on an iPhone, and if you did, like that shit is getting fixed. Like, but I see like little things like that like all the time on like Androids. Like I don't know, just like iPhone just feels so complete. Oh, another thing that was like tip top on my list was like swipe keyboards.
Yeah.
Uh like oh my god, I hate having to manually type every single letter. But I think it was probably around like iOS 9 or 11, I don't know, somewhere in that range. Uh they allow you to download third party keyboards. So I've been using Gboard since I don't know, as soon as it was released uh, for iOS. So there's like nothing that I really can complain about other than the price. But I mean, that's what most flagships go for anyway. Like people
Yeah.
always say, I'm never paying 1,400 for a phone, dude. The fucking then don't. The Samsungs cost the same amount, like maybe like $50 less if you're really being picky.
And that's why I don't get that experience of unboxing that you guys are talking about, because I just bring my ass to swappa.com and buy a secondhand
Yeah,
Android. I'm not fucking with $1,400.
Yeah,
Like I
Verizon is fucking me raw with what is it, like $30 a month for a $1,500 phone. So
yeah. It's definitely not for everybody. It's highly dependent on the individual as to what's what's worth what. One guy
yeah.
that used to work for me, uh, for a while he didn't have a phone period as an adult, and it's not because he was like, oh, I'm just not into phone. He just like didn't have one, like he like didn't have any money or whatever. Or okay, he had money. He's stupid with his money, but anyway, like he would always roast me for having uh like the current iPhone. And he would say, "Man, I would never pay X amount of dollars, dude. I would never." I was like, "Okay, just to be blunt, dude, like, just at least in his experience, like, can you even do that? Like right now, like, why are you hating on how someone is spending their money? You know what I mean? Like,
sounds like
Yeah.
broke.
like it can be worth it. Now, if you're getting it because you think that you need it, chances are you're very wrong. Uh, you know what I mean? But I was like showing him things. He was like, "Well, Samsungs are more powerful and blah 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 blah." And I showed him like so many like benchmarking tests, and it had the iPhones on top of virtually everything. Uh, and then I kind of like compared it to cars, like Toyota, for example. Uh, Toyotas are a little expensive, like for how basic that they are. You know what I mean? Like they're not
Yeah.
fancy in any means, but they're rather expensive, and the resale value is very high compared to say Chevrolet, for example. So like I kind of compared it to that. Like I was like, you buy a fucking Toyota because it's gonna last forever, not because it can do the things that like a Corvette can do. You know what I mean? Uh,
I
because like iPhones or like there's so many memes about like them being so obsolete after X amount of years, but like I still know people rocking iPhone 6s just fine, dude. Like
Yeah, but I think there's definitely something to the plan obsolescence, or
yes.
however the hell that's supposed to be said.
Planned obsolescence.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
it's it's a real thing. I mean, they definitely slow them down. There's a class action lawsuit,
Yeah.
but Android just gets left behind on a outdated, insecure version of Android OS. So
Yeah,
it's pick your poison.
exactly.
Uh, but
That
I mean, I think the biggest thing with iPhones or the flagship Androids is the fear of missing out. That I don't have the latest iPhone. I'm not going to be
yeah,
cool. It kind of
that
goes
that
back
is
to the
huge.
clicky shit that you guys were talking about. You dealt with in high school. I think that carries on. I've been fortunate. I think my generation, like I there's a I didn't get a phone until late. I was probably 18, 19 before I got an actual phone. So I know what it's like to not have that shit, and I don't really need the fanciest shit. I want something reliable.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely the status is a huge part of it. I've been rather good about keeping my phones for longer than a year. For example, I've been trying to do 2 to 3 years, and then I only upgrade whenever it's actually like a noticeable difference because with them releasing phones every single year, you're usually not missing out on much. So I typically I'll skip uh, every other phone or whatever. So like I'll hold on. I will hold on to them for 2 years. My last phone, I plan on holding on to it for 3 years. Uh, but with my work, I get them wet all the time, and they are waterproof. But just eventually, like so much water gets in the speaker that it sounds a little fucked.
It's it's not
And
waterproof. It's
I've
water
got to be able to
resistant.
hear. Yeah, yeah. Like I've got to be able to hear it perfectly. And
Yeah,
I also shower with my phones every single day. Uh,
good
not every
God.
phone, just one phone at a time, but I do shower with the phone. So
There's that app. There's an app that you can get that plays the audio at a certain frequency,
yeah,
and
and
it's
it'll
supposed to
push it
get
out.
yeah. So if you're spending $1,200 on a phone and it lasts about 2 years, that's about $50 a month that you're paying for that phone. So that's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. It is significantly more than necessary. But especially since I have so many other Apple devices, uh, the ecosystem, man. That's what everyone says.
yeah,
The ecosystem. It's just beautiful. It all matches so nice. It's so easy that a child could operate it, which does limit it to some extent. There's plenty of things that my Apple TV doesn't do that, like why the fuck doesn't it do? Uh, and same for my iPad. My iPad. Uh, you said Bree just got an iPad Pro.
Yeah.
not yet.
Oh, this is a very silly thing that literally doesn't matter, but it's just kind of funny. They don't come with calculators. iPads don't come with calculators. Um, like you have to get a third party calculator with like ads on it or pay for one, and I'm not paying for a calculator. But anyway, like it's just little shit like that. The quirks are so frustrating, but I do put up with it just because it all works so like near flawlessly that all of my complaints are quickly overshadowed by the fact that I am overall happy with it.
Well, I mean, ultimately, that's what matters.
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
say I use my iPad every single day. It's the only iDevice that I own, but there's no there's nothing that comes close to it. There's no Android tablet that can even touch it. So
right. And
the
I've
iPad
tried.
is it's a perfect product, and I'm happy to support that one.
Yeah, yeah. They could do better, like I said. But since the status symbol exists, they like don't have to do better, and it's frustrating
Yeah,
because people are gonna buy that shit up, and it's so annoying because we could have much better shit. But like there's like no incentive because they're gonna be the most sold phone. They're gonna be sought after. Uh, all
yeah,
they have to do is just release a new color, uh, and like it's gonna be news for like a little bit. Like uh,
yeah.
it's just part of it.
Is anyone else hearing that weird feedback?
Yes, yes, I do hear that.
Okay, I think
Is that
it's go.
me?
Yeah, I hear it too now.
Um, it's okay. It's
It
gone
just
now, I
stopped for
think.
me.
Oh, yeah. I think we're good. Um, okay. Any other topics? Let's see that Audacity thing. Did you want to hit on that, Steve?
Yeah, I think we can talk on it briefly. We've already been going for 90 minutes. So I don't know how
Yeah.
how long we want to make it,
Yeah, we should
but
probably wrap up soon after this.
Yeah, I'll just mention Audacity has been a staple of open source. Anyone that needs audio editing software, Audacity is free, open source. It does whatever, it feature rich. It looks a little dated. It's always kind of, I feel like it's always looked old, but that shit just worked. In a few months ago, it was brought it was bought out by a company called Muse Group, and they just recently updated their privacy policy that essentially says we are going to collect your data and hand it over to a law enforcement if they ask for it. Um, and it's written in a vague way where they doesn't really say what data is being collected, but the fact that they're just going to hand it over, and it specifically said USA, Russia, and the uh, European countries. So that shit's scary, and I quickly uninstalled it from my system, even though I could have just kept an older version of it. Um, I just don't like that. That's kind of goes against everything that the FOSS community stands for. But because it's open source, most likely there's already another group working on a fork of it, and I bet in the next month or so we'll see a spiritual successor. But I think that it's gross and concerning. But luckily, the community reacted pretty quickly and they made us think about it. So if anyone has it, I'd recommend getting rid of it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. They just kind of like went back on their whole thing. It's like, I don't know, usually with like the open source community, like you would want to keep it, what is it, like, I guess anonymous or whatever. And like now that they sell your data, basically, is kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the open source community, it's like you can have three things. You can be free and open source, you can be well funded, and you can be transparent. And you can only pick two of those. So a lot of times they're not well funded. They rely on people to donate time, money, all of the above, um, and things like Ubuntu has Canonical backing them, and they made some changes over the last few years that kind of upset the open source community. Um, so a lot of people are moving away from them, but it hasn't been as bad as this. Without going too far in the woods, Ubuntu started kind of pushing ads. If you searched your local desktop, it would pop up with an Amazon ad, which really pissed a lot of people off, including me. Um, so, that's because it's backed by a big company that's trying to profit any way they can. But again, open source. So quickly you'll see another option, probably in the next 6 to 8 weeks. I bet you'll see something drop.
Word. All right. Did anyone else have any final words or anything?
Were you just talking to me?
Nah, I bet.
Okay, I was
I was
just
just
hearing
talking
some
to
like,
anyone. If you had,
oh,
if you,
it was very choppy. It was like anything, but yeah, I don't really
I
have much
think we're
to.
just trying to say
Damn
our.
it!
your internet was doing good for a while, but now it's falling apart.
Yes,
But
sir.
yeah, I was just saying if anyone had anything before we wrapped up. If not, we'll just go ahead and end it here.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone listening. We want to be in touch with the community. We want your feedback, what you liked, what you hated. If it's kicking Randy off, I understand. We can work on that. But hopefully we drop this on a regular, and you guys are enjoying this. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and you can't, like, usually at this point they'd be like, yeah, so where can we reach out to you? You can't reach out to us nowhere. I
Nah,
guess except for the
do
review
not talk to
section.
me.
Yeah, as of right now, we don't really want that. I guess we're all pretty like private people, so like I guess maybe at some point we might have like a, I don't know, some
Uh,
like a Twitter page or some shit like that.
We're
But
gonna have some. We're gonna have probably like a
Yeah, I think
TikTok or
we'll have a
something.
show Twitter.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
have
something
something.
for the show, not individuals.
Yeah, you ain't
Correct.
gonna see what I'm doing. But all right, yeah, this has been just a position. We like men.